And we're going to start this practice lying on our backs, please. Take your time to just come to lying down. You could have your legs extended to begin with. As you come to settle, we've all had a lovely bank holiday weekend and are ready for a fresh new week ahead. Rested, refreshed. And maybe this practice will contribute to that a little bit as well. So this class today is a shortened version of a class that I taught at the River Room a couple of Saturdays ago. And we're focusing on, well, we can say we're focusing on one muscle, but that muscle is integrated into the whole of the respiratory and physical system. And as you lie here now, you might want to visualize the muscle. It's the psoas muscle, spelled P-S-O-A-S. And it's a really large muscle that if you had it on a slab in front of you, would look like the whole of a fillet of steak. And it runs from pretty much where your rib cage attaches to your spine. It's the 12th thoracic vertebra, in fact, all the way down through the pelvis, where it connects to the trochanter, which is part of the thigh bone, inner thigh bone. You could even take your fingers and slide on each side. You have your psoas muscle. Slide your hands down from where the rib cage attaches to the spine, all the way down to the inner thighs. We'll just do this as a settling practice with a sense of this large muscle becoming soft and saggy. And I will record a longer version of this practice on Thursday. This is all by request. And as you stroke down the body and allow, or begin to allow a softness, a sagginess in this muscle, or in your imagination of this muscle, also begin to really feel the floor. Begin to drop into your breath. And allow yourself to be here. Some of you already know that the psoas muscle is also known as the fight or flight muscle. It's an amazing muscle in that it allows us as humans to stand upright, to walk. It allows us to escape danger, to protect ourselves. And it does all of this, particularly the fight or flight, because it responds to adrenaline and cortisol. It responds to an awareness of a need to protect ourselves. So it's really important. But because of all of that, it also needs to let go and relax. Not least because it's intimately connected to our respiratory system. So when our psoas muscle is tight and on alert, on fight or flight, we tend to breathe more shallowly. There's tension in the ribs, the muscles between the ribs and the diaphragm. When we begin to nourish and settle the psoas muscle, the diaphragm can also relax. We can begin to take fuller breaths. So it's a beautiful example of a part of the physical body that is intimately connected with our respiratory system and intimately connected with our nervous system and our sense of well-being. Please come to bringing your feet standing on the floor. In such a way that's comfortable for you. So you might bring them closer in towards the buttocks or a little bit further away. And you could have your hands resting where they were before, or you could release them down by your sides. Becoming really soft in the belly, soft in the inner thighs, and soft at the front of your hips. And take a full breath in and a long breath out. Next time you breathe in, allow your pelvis to spill forwards. Your belly will come forwards and there'll be a little arch created under your lower back. And you can pause here. And then as you breathe out, begin to push into your feet a little. And the pelvis rolls back. You flatten your lower back into the floor. Pausing here at the end of the exhalation before you allow the breath in to spill the pelvis forwards again. And so on for a few rounds, pelvic tilting. Now you can visualize where this long psoas muscle is. You can see that every time we come into this pelvic tilting, which is in most classes, we're already introducing a tension into this muscle, a softness as well as an aliveness. Beautiful. And then just resting a moment. And then bringing your right knee in towards you with your hands, with the left foot still on the floor. Have a little feel of this right leg, the right hip. You could have a little move around. And then all we're going to do is that same spilling forwards of the pelvis on the inhale. Your arms will straighten. And that drawing back of the pelvis, press into the left foot as you exhale, and your right knee should come a bit closer in towards you. Take a few more rounds. Softening the whole body. This is a very receptive practice, or a practice in which we can become very receptive. That's lovely. And then just for a moment, becoming still as you slide your left leg long. And I'd like you to become aware of the left foot. So I'm just going to explain this once or twice and then leave you to try it. Slightly harder to tilt the pelvis with the left leg long. But again, on the inhale, you're going to tilt the pelvis forwards, your right knee will move away from you. But this time as you exhale, and the right knee comes towards you, can you turn your left foot, pivot it out to the left? It's a subtle move. You could even have it slightly lifted off the floor. And then as you inhale, you relax the leg, relax the foot. The right knee moves away from you. And as you exhale, the right knee comes in. As you pivot the left foot out to the left, I'm hovering the leg off the floor. And so on for a few rounds. And you might notice with this exhale and pivoting the left leg that you can actually feel, you can locate the muscle and its attachment into the inner thigh on the left side. Might even be a dull ache there, just a little, hey, I'm here, I'm working for you. As you pivot your left foot to the left on the exhale, you are also pushing through that left heel a little, drawing the right knee in towards you, but without any sense of yanking or force. Okay, let's change sides. Gently allow the right foot back to the floor. Just for a moment, slide the right leg long, so you just might begin to feel a difference between the two sides of the body. And don't worry if you don't. And then we come to standing the right foot on the floor and we bring the left knee in towards us. And again, breathing in, the pelvis spills forwards, the left knee moves away. Pause, and on the breath out, consciously spill the pelvis back. Press into the right foot, the left knee comes in towards you. Continue in your own time. It'll be really interesting for you to observe throughout this practice if anything changes with the breath. Does it become easier, smoother, fuller perhaps? Or maybe not, it's absolutely fine. And at some point, slide the right leg long. Continue with what you're doing with the pelvis and the left leg. But as you exhale and draw the left knee in towards you, the right foot pivots to the right, and you push through that right heel. Really soften the face inside the mouth. Breathing freely. And just taking a couple more rounds. Tummy's rumbling this morning. Beautiful. And then in your own time, have a rest with both legs long. Take a few lovely full breaths. Feel the body. Okay, please keep the left leg long and place the right foot on the floor. Your arms can be wherever feels comfortable. And the left leg can just be flopped out to the side. And again, On the breath in, allow the pelvis to spill forwards. It's like your belly becomes a bit bigger. But this time on the breath out, as the pelvis rolls back, you flatten the lower back. You press into your right foot. And now the left leg floats off the floor, maybe 20 centimeters. So we're strengthening the psoas muscle now. And on the breath in, the leg floats down. The pelvis spills forwards. And on the breath out, the pelvis tilts back. So you synchronize this with floating the left leg off the floor. Find your rhythm and really notice what you feel inside the left leg. This long fillet of a muscle attached all the way up the spine and through the pelvis into the leg. Might even feel like quite an effort to lift the leg. Okay, let's have a rest there. And then interlace your hands behind your head. So your head's just cradled in the hands. And you're going to breathe in, allow the pelvis to tilt forwards. And as you breathe out, you press into the right foot, the left leg floats up, but now you bring your elbows towards each other so that you end up looking towards your left foot and you pause here. But you're not yanking your head. Then as you breathe in, your arms like butterfly wings float back. The left leg floats down. You breathe out and you gently come into this slightly more engaged position. Hover. And continue in your own time, please. Notice where the effort is, and if there are any places where you're making superfluous effort or effort that just isn't required for the job. Okay, and next time, float the head down, the leg down, and release the hands, release the right leg long. Take a moment to feel the body here. Lovely. And then stand the left foot on the floor, the right leg is long, and we start with our arms just out to the sides. And come into that rhythm of breathing in to spill the pelvis forwards. It's a kind of lengthening of the psoas muscle as you do this. And then as you breathe out, you press the left foot, the right leg floats up. You're contracting the psoas muscle. You can probably feel it. And continue, breathe in, the leg floats down, the pelvis spills forwards. And breathe out, float the leg up. And you're really flattening your lower back against the floor, contracting the psoas muscle, as well as the diaphragm. Actually, that isn't right. As you breathe out, the diaphragm is, in fact, relaxing. No? Do you know, I always do this. I always get them mixed up. As you breathe in, the diaphragm is relaxing and flattening over the contents of your abdomen. And as you breathe out, along with the psoas muscle, like I said the first time, the diaphragm contracts under the ribs to expel the air in your lungs. Okay, just resting the right leg on the floor as you interlace your hands behind your head. Take a moment. When you're ready, inhaling to spill forwards with the pelvis. And this time on the exhale, contracting and your elbows come together to lift the head. The right leg lifts, you can see your toes. And take a few rounds. Beautiful, Gila. Making the one you're on the last one before you come to rest with both legs long, arms by your sides. And just notice the breath. Notice how you're feeling here. Notice the floor coming up to meet you. And then we come to standing both feet on the floor again. And your arms could be by your sides. And I'd like you to become aware of the distance between your right armpit and your right hip. So we're bringing our attention to the side body. And then when you're ready, begin to draw the right armpit and the right hip towards each other. Doesn't matter how you breathe. And then you take them apart. And then you draw them together. And then they slide apart. So this is a bit of lateral flexion for the spine, which is also going to affect the psoas muscle in a sideways movement. So you feel the right side of the body becoming shorter and the left side of the body lengthening. A bit like a fish or a reptile. So you move your spine just to the side, but we're only coming to the right. And it's very possible that as you do this, you'll feel the shoulders and ribs and the pelvis as part of this slinky side movement. Let's begin to take it to the left armpit, left hip, and straighten, and we just do it to the left. It's better not to think about it, but allow your body to respond to the instructions. So, Gila, it looks like you're making too much effort. You're lifting your head. It's just the armpit and the hip. It's okay. All I meant was other parts of the body might slide, but that might be imperceptible. And then if you like, you could make your side curve from side to side, straightening and then going to the left, straightening, going to the right. It's not a big movement, it's a subtle lateral flexion. Fabulous. And then just straighten up for a moment, just come to neutral. Before you roll over onto your left side, we'll start on the left. And I'd like you to line yourself up. You might need a blanket under your head. I want you to line yourself up so that the left arm is just coming out in front of you. You should be able to see your toes. So your thighs are coming straight out of the hips. It's kind of a series of right angles. And your right arm has just flopped over your hip here. And actually, we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to inhale to create length. We didn't bring a breath into this before. Inhale to create length in the right side body. And on the exhale, just draw your right armpit and hip towards each other without lifting the head. And then you inhale to inflate the right side of the body, I should say. And exhale, contract. See if you can find a bit of a pulse here. So sorry, it's only because I can see you, Gila, that I'm saying all of this. You seem to be kind of rotating around to the right as you do this. It really is a much more subtle movement, so you shouldn't really be rolling your head so much. I should barely be able to see you moving. It's just the side. That's much better. Okay, perfect. Okay, have a moment just to rest here. We're going to add two different things to this lateral flexion on the side. So I'll show you the next stage and you can join in when you're ready. As you breathe in, you inflate the right side of the body like we did. And as you breathe out, you draw the right armpit and hip towards each other, but then your right foot floats up. Notice that my knees are stuck together. And on the inhale, the foot lowers, you inflate the right side, you join in when you're ready. Exhale, contract, and the right foot floats up. It's quite a lot to synchronize. So you have a sense of this right arm sliding a little bit. So it's as if your fingertips are moving towards that right heel as it lifts. That's beautiful. Okay, and then if you'd like to just carry on lying on your side, take a breath to rest, and I'll explain the final part of this movement. This time, as you breathe in and you feel an inflating in the right side of the body, you float your right arm up over your head to the floor. So you feel this fullness in the right side of the body. And as you exhale, you're doing everything you did before. Armpit and hip come closer, you float up the right foot, but this time you float the arm back to the side. And as you inhale, foot releases, arm lifts. It's like you're a lung, well, you are a lung on the right side of the body, but with this gentle floaty movement that's helping the breath. Very soft. Imagine you're underwater. Feel the fullness of the breath in as your arm lifts, and that gentle pushing the breath out as your foot lifts and your arm floats back. Just doing one more. And then releasing, roll onto your back for a moment before you roll onto the other side. And I feel a complete asymmetry. I don't know about you, but I feel a complete difference between the right side and the left side of the body. And it's just noticing the quality of that difference that's important. When you're ready, You align yourself lying on the right side of the body in exactly the same way that we did on the left. Actually, one thing I didn't say on the other side is as you prepare for this, as you set yourself up, the side of the body which is in contact with the floor, to the right side, just allow it to become a bit heavy, allow it to drop a little bit more into the floor before you start anything. And then the first phase of this is to draw the left armpit and hip towards each other. It's a tiny movement. You could include the breath. So on the inhale, you lengthen. And on the exhale, you draw the armpit and hip towards each other. You're making the left side of the body shorter. What I'm going to do this time is just allow you to move into the next phase when you're ready. So when you're ready, it's the left foot that floats up on the exhale and floats down on the inhale. So the inhale is when you lengthen the side body and the exhale is when you make it shorter. And then when you're ready, on the inhale, the arm floats over your head. You feel that lengthening, that inflating in the left side of the body. And on the exhale, the arm floats back as the left foot floats up and you're contracting, expelling the air. The whole body like a lung. Inhale. Exhale. And it's not that you have to lift the left foot really high or reach to hold it. It's just that you have a sense of your fingers moving towards it. But it could be quite a low lift. It's looking really good. And just doing one more round. Before you come to resting flat on your backs. Take a few full breaths as you allow your body to feel the full contact of the surface beneath you. You're digesting the benefits of the practice so far. And all we're going to do is bend up the knees and take the feet quite wide. Your arms just can come out to the side. Well, all we're going to do is windshield wiper the legs. So allow both knees to gently float to the left and your head can float to the right if that feels right. You can just luxuriate in this very easy, gentle twist. And when you're ready, knees float up, you look towards the ceiling. And then they drop to the right and your head rolls to the left. Just take a few rounds. I could just carry on doing this. I don't know about you, but we need to roll onto our bellies. So when you're ready, please meet me, lying on your bellies, with your head resting on your hands. And just take a little while breathing here as you feel the front of your body in contact with the floor. And then can you bend your right knee so the sole of your right foot is facing the ceiling? You can even flex the foot a little bit as if you were going to try and step onto the ceiling. Now, this is going to sound a little bit odd, but all I would like you to do is, and you're going to count this, you're going to start pressing your right leg into the mat. So it's the knee and the thigh, and you're going to count for 7 seconds. And when you reach 7, you're going to allow the right knee to float off the floor. It might rise up a few centimeters. And you're going to count for 3 as you hold it here. And then it comes down again. You press the leg down and count for 7. When you reach 7, and everyone will have a different count, the leg floats up and it hovers there for a count of 3. Don't do this in any way that creates strain in the lower back. And just continue for a few more rounds. Pressing down for 7, floating up for 3. And then please change sides. Take a breath in between just to settle both legs long. It's quite hard work to press the bent leg for 7 counts into the floor. It's an effort. Notice where that effort's happening. Notice what it feels like to float it up off the floor for about 3 seconds. So this class today is more of a somatics class than a traditional yoga class. But as you know, I'm finding it harder and harder in my own practice and in the way I teach to differentiate between these different practices. For me, they're all intimately related. And then please have a rest. Let the left leg come long. They're all different ways that are related of refining our awareness of our relationship of our experience of being in a body. Refining our relationship of the relationship, refining our awareness of the relationship between the body and the breath and how we feel. Please come to resting your forearms on the floor in Sphinx. So your elbows could be directly under your shoulders, or you could have them a little bit out to the sides. Take a moment here. Relax the shoulders, relax the belly. Maybe you have a sense of a gentle, subtle opening in the front of the chest, the collarbones. So we're going to do something. I want you to, I'll talk you through it and then you can join in. I want you to begin to press the left leg quite firmly into the floor as you look out over your right shoulder and you slide your right knee up the mat and towards the armpit, but you're pressing the left foot down. And then you could look over your left shoulder now actually as you lengthen the right leg. Let's make that an inhale. You lengthen, you look over the left shoulder. And as you exhale, press the left leg down. You slide the right knee up. So it's quite slinky. If the breath seems complicated, you don't need to worry. You just breathe your way. So we're only going to the right for now. A few times to the right. Make this your last one to the right. Lovely. Take a breath in neutral. Inhale. As you exhale, look over to your left as you slide the left knee up. And as you inhale, you lengthen, you have a little look over to your right. And so on. So we have this same principle of finding space on one side and contracting the other side. Like we're gently massaging into this lovely muscle. And on Thursday, when I teach the 90-minute version of this, obviously I can fit lots more in than in an hour. But this is fine. Okay, have a rest in Sphinx, just neutral. And then from your Sphinx, you can gently bring yourself into a child's pose. Settling your bottom back towards your heels. Becoming very still. Just allowing your body to breathe itself. Wonderful. Please meet me in an all fours position now. A little bit of strengthening work. As you breathe in, you lengthen out your right leg and you lift it and you hover here. And as you breathe out, you bring the knee down. We'll just do that for a few rounds. What I suggest is that you do a few rounds moving like this with the breath, but then after a while you could come just to hold the leg and breathe and feel the effort, turning the toes towards the left rather than to the right. If it feels too strong, you can start opening and closing again with the breath. Wonderful. Let's change sides. These kinds of movements, try not to be mechanical, but be very conscious of every breath, every sensation. Maybe you hold the left leg, take a few breaths, turning the toes in towards the right a little. Fabulous. And then dropping the left knee, taking a moment. And we slide the right knee forwards for pigeon. If pigeon just isn't going to happen for you, you could come onto your back. Bring the right ankle over the left knee and bring your legs in towards you. It is going to happen. Just check over your left shoulder that the left leg is long and straight. And it's going to depend on you how high up the mat your right shin and foot come. It's going to depend on how open your hip is. But for most people, the left heel will be kind of in line with the left front hip crest. Take a moment to settle down on your forearms, just to settle into the hip. It's quite a big hip opener. And breathe here. Allowing the whole body to soften and release on every breath out. Please place your hands down underneath your shoulders as your arms straighten now. You could come onto your fingertips, you could stay on your palms. And what I'd like us to do is just bend, turn the chin in towards the chest. You're looking towards the navel. And you can even feel yourself pressing into your knees a bit as you contract the hips away from the floor, a little lift. Let's inhale here. And then as you exhale, drop, and your head can lift. Do you know, I keep messing up the inhales and exhales. Let's inhale here, lovely and long. Finding length, you're even stretching out through that left foot. And then as you exhale, you slowly look down, chin towards the chest. Pressing into your knees. And it's like your abdomen contracts a little, pelvis lifts. As you inhale, you drop. Head lift. And as you exhale, you contract. Really find a rhythm and breathe it. Really what the sequence is doing in a range of movements is massaging the psoas muscle from different angles and asking it to work in different angles. So this constant lengthening and contracting, nourishing, hydrating this muscle that works so hard for us. Wonderful. Should we change sides? Gently sliding the right knee back. If you're on your back, taking the left ankle over the right knee. And really taking time to set yourself up. Slide the right leg long, make sure it's straight. And we'll just settle down first of all to allow the hips to acclimatize. Breathe. And then when you're ready, straightening out your arms. And on the inhale, you'll find the pelvis drops and moves forwards as your head lifts. You're reaching out through that right foot. And exhale, begin to look down and towards the navel as you press into your knees. There's a little lift of the pelvis. The abdomen is working. Find your rhythm. Breathe. Wonderful. Okay, and then very gently bring yourself to an all fours position. Curl your toes under, please, and take your weight back to your heels. Take a moment to rest here. We've done quite a lot into the hips. You can probably feel them. Just allow your head to hang free. Come quiet in the shoulders and the ribs. Getting a little bit of a toe stretch. And then absolutely in your own time, you could stay resting here, or you could begin to lift the knees off the floor. Take your bottom back and slowly up as you unfold into your Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. You come back down again, and I'll leave you alone now to just breathe as you unfold and refold. And if you love being in your dog and you want to stay and walk it out, do that. Make it your own. In fact, next time you come up, let's take the hands and the feet wide apart. It's as if we're taking a wide angled forward fold. And just allow the whole body to take 5 breaths here. You've taken 5 breaths. Slowly, slowly bring your knees down. And this is where we end the physical practice with the brick, if you've got one. Take it easy, take it slow. You come onto your back. You bend your knees and press into your feet to take the brick underneath your sacrum, not up the spine, but halfway down your buttocks. So you can really totally trust it, totally rest the body there. And then if you're comfortable, you slide the legs long. I like to take my arms over my head, but you take them where they're comfortable. You could increase the height of the brick a little, don't take it too high. So you should have a sense of this opening of the whole of the front of the body here, front of the pelvis. As you allow the weight of your pelvis to sink into the brick, and take a few breaths. Soften the face. Really heavy. Noticing all sensation. And of course, you could stay longer with your brick. If you like this feeling, you could take a few more minutes. But when you're ready to come out, you need to stand your feet firmly on the floor. Press into your feet just enough to lift yourself off the brick to slide it away. And then don't come down in too much of a hurry. Allow your spine to find the mat bone by bone. And you'll feel your sacrum nestle into the mat. You might find that you're ready to lengthen out your legs already, or it might feel intuitively just nice to draw your knees in towards you. Have a little roll around here. When you finally come to Shavasana, please make sure you're warm enough. Allow your legs to open a little, flop your feet out to the side, arms away from the body. And simply rest and soak up the benefits of this quite profound practice at a physical level, at an energetic level, and in the sense of the whole of your well-being. And of course, you can stay here for as long as you like. When you're ready to come out, you can begin to take a few slightly deeper breaths. You feel the breath in the body now. You might like to gently roll your head from side to side, introduce gentle movements into the wrists and ankles. As you transition your way from this resting shavasana, maybe to lying onto one side, before you come up to sitting, eyes closed if you can. And take a moment sitting, just feeling the body, feeling the sense of the room, the space around you. And taking a full breath into the heart. Holding it here for a short pause, and then on the exhale, consciously exhaling completely. And on the breath in, lifting your head gently, opening your eyes. Thank you very much for joining me. Namaste.